Welcome to this class. Today we're going to do a class focused on strengthening and taking care of our wrists. So it's going to be a class where we do some gentle movements to strengthen the wrist, right? Because nowadays with our new 21st century human habits, we have a tendency to have very sensitive wrists and sometimes even painful. So of course, when we come into the yoga practice, we are feeling that sensitivity because we're using a lot of our hands in a way that we usually don't. And so it's completely normal. It's completely okay if you're feeling discomfort. And throughout this class, I'm also going to show you ways that you can modified and make variations of some of the asana practice so you can still feel that it's doable and accessible to you. Okay, we're gonna need a blanket for sure, and just have the props like blocks nearby. I'm not sure if we're gonna use them yet, but it's just nice to have them so you don't have to be running and leaving your mat and picking them up if you need to. So we're going to start in our comfortable seated position. Right now, I am sitting on my heels. If you prefer to cross your legs or extend the legs, please, by all means, sit in a way that you feel supported. And a blanket is always nice. I use the blankets in such a way to create a little bit of cushion to provide support for my joints, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to place that blanket underneath. So my ankle joints, as I sit on my heels like this, they feel that nice cushion in the front of the ankle. So let's just take a moment to arrive, right? We just always sometimes are such a like doers, and we come into a yoga practice and we don't take time to kind of pause, slow down, and to really assimilate that we are now in a space that invites relaxation, that invites slowing down. And so let's just start with a brief grounding practice. And the more we do this, then you are going to find yourself throughout the day, whenever overwhelmed, doing these practices, because that's the whole point of slowly spreading that yoga practice beyond this yoga mat. So if it feels right, relax your eyes. You can even close them. Just rest your hands somewhere on your legs. And start to tune in within by feeling your body, feeling your breath. Notice what kind of energy are you bringing into this practice? Are you agitated? Are you excited? Are you tired? Just notice. Notice the quality of the breath and how it feels to breathe in your body right this moment. Notice the thoughts. What kind of thoughts are predominantly right now in your mind? It's all observation. Try to stay present. Is your physical body aching somewhere, feeling discomfort somewhere, tightness somewhere? And as you keep your eyes closed or relaxed, you are inviting a moment to look introspectively inside yourself, connecting to yourself, acknowledging everything that you are going through and feeling right this moment, and safely embrace it, knowing that all of this is temporal. Your emotions are temporal, your thoughts are temporal, your energy right now is temporal. And when I mean the energy being temporal is the sensation, right? The energy is always there, changing, transforming. And just keep your awareness in the breath and letting the rhythm of the breath calm your mind. Really feeling the breath coming in and out of your nose. And perhaps also feeling that breath in your chest. As you relax your shoulders, your face, continue letting your physical body to arrive and to receive that invitation to relax. We're going to do 2 more rounds of breath. Slowly in through the nose. Slowly out through the nose. Continue letting go of anything that feels heavy with every exhale. Beautiful. When you feel ready, gently open your eyes. So a little pause right before the action. So we're going to start, and please, as we begin our wrist exercises, if you need to change the way you're seated, please do. If you prefer to rest the spine against the wall, please do, okay? Anything that you need to do, please do. We're going to start by strengthening our wrist. And the way it works is you're going to keep those elbows relaxed by your side, so your shoulders are relaxed. You're going to start rolling your wrist in circles. And as you roll the wrist in circle, please do that very slowly. It's almost like you're trying to feel all the sensations and spread your fingers as you're rolling the wrist. You might feel some bones popping, cracking, and that's okay. As long as you are not feeling extremely pain, continue doing this movement, spreading the fingers as you roll, nice and slow, very gentle. Very good. Stay with your breath. Feel free to maybe close your eyes if that feels right and just follow my voice. And then switch direction of that circle. Whatever direction you went, let's do the opposite and very slowly feel and connect to your wrist. Notice where else do you feel it. Maybe you feel some movement in your forearms. Continue spreading the fingers as wide as you can, just rolling the wrist. Awakening slowly the joints, the tendons, the muscles. All right. Now, what we're going to do now, we're going to extend the arms out to the side, shoulder high, and you're going to bring the fingers together like a fist and then spread your fingers out. Okay, so close them in and extend the fingers out. Bring the fingers in, extend the fingers out. And we're going to do this first, very gentle. Close and open. Keep the breath nice and slow. Relax the shoulders, soften the breath. Breathe. And now as you are open and closing your fingers, see if you can do that a little bit more faster. Just a little bit more faster. And a little bit faster. So close, open, close, open, close, open. That much of a rhythm. Close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. You got it. All right. Keep that rhythm with your arms like that. And then bring those arms above the head as you continue open and closing the fingers. So we are strengthening the forearms. We're strengthening everything that is there in the arms to support your wrist. Close and open. Bring your hands in front of you, shoulder high. You might start to feel some heat. You might start to feel perhaps that your fingers are getting numb. If that's the case, continue to kind of slow down a little bit, but continue open and close. From the front, open the arms out to the side, continue open and close, open and close, open and close, open and close. Arms overhead, open and close, open and close, open and close, open and close. Hands in front of you, open and close, open and close, open and close. Hands by your side, open and close, open and close, open and close. And you got this. We're going to do this 5 times. Keep going. I'm going to count the movement. All you got to do is just open and close and relax the breath. When you're ready, arms overhead. Breathe. Open and close, hands in front of you. Hands by your side. Hands overhead. Hands in front of you. Hands by your side. Hands overhead. Hands in front of you. Hands by your side. Hands above. Hands in front of you. Hands by your side. This is getting tired. It's a good sign, right? This is exactly what maybe is what is needed in your wrist. And last one, hands above the head. Hands in front of you. Hand by your side. And then release your arms there for a moment. Notice the entire heat awakening from the wrist, or I will say fingertips to the shoulders, right? Feels intense. Now bend the shoulders again, keeping the elbows by your side, and you're just gonna shake your palms. Just shake them. Just let them go in any direction that they need to go. You can flip them back and forth, side to side, a little bit of everything. Good. Now let's do an eagle arm. And remember, there is a variation where extending arms out to the side, you can hug yourself in here where the elbows stack, but then you keep those elbows high. And you're going to press the chest back, rounding the upper back, keeping the heart lifted. And then there is option 2 where you can intertwine the palms or the forearms pressing against each other. And this is to stretch a little bit the upper back. This is to stretch a little bit the neck. So if you're hugging yourself, continue really pressing the chest back as you keep the heart open. Keep lifting the elbows a little higher. If you're doing the other variation where you're interlacing your forearms, keep pressing the elbows forward, up, and into each other. The top of the neck is relaxed and the shoulder blades are spreading apart. One more breath in here. And then exhale, release, shake the shoulders. We're going to do that on the other side. So choose the same variation. And this time, I believe you bring the opposite arm on top and the opposite arm under. So continue the best you can to maintain a relaxed breath. One more inhale. And exhale, release. Shake the shoulders up and down. Good. I'm going to show you how to modify your hands on coming into your wrists whenever you're doing certain poses. And for this practice, we're just going to do tabletop and we're going to do a plank. And those are two very common poses sometimes in a yoga practice. And I would like for you to be able to know how to adjust your body when those wrists are feeling sensitive throughout the practice. Now, it might happen that you start normally using your hands, but at some point in the practice, your wrists are starting to ask for a little break, for a little pause. And so that means that you can continue the practice, but you can adjust and modify your hands. So one way that I will recommend, and please explore, this might not work for you, but one way that I will recommend that have helped me to protect my wrist when I'm sensitive about it is that you're going to bring your fingers, your index, from your index to the pinky, you're going to close them into the base of the wrist, right? So we're not curling the fingers, we're keeping them straight, we're just simply closing. And the thumb is extending out to the side. So now you're going to have all the knuckles in front of you without curling the fingers, and you're going to press all those knuckles into the mat and using that thumb as an extra support. What this does is maintaining the wrist without any flexion or extension, okay? So you're still maintaining the wrist straight up. Now, when we're doing this is a extension of the wrist. And when we're doing this is an flexion of the wrist, all right? So when you come into your fist with your fingers extended and pointing those feet, the thumbs, you're maintaining the wrist in that 90 degree. I'm sorry, not 90 degree, in a neutral position. And so there is less sensitivity. So let's go ahead and use that option. And you can practice this regardless of whether your wrists are sensitive or not. Just practice it. So then something that you can have in your toolbox, and whenever you need it in any practice at any moment in your yoga journey, you know how to adjust your wrist. So as you come into your tabletop, right, feel the knuckles, keep the fingers pointing towards the base of the wrist, and just press the thumb down. And so this feels a little bit stable, right? Not as comfortable as it would be nice to have the hand pressing, but you know, this is definitely an option. The second option is a little bit more harsh because it requires a lot of strength on your fingers. But the other option is that you're coming into your fingertips and then you drop into the ball of your fingers into the floor. So your lid is almost like a very intense extension of the fingers, where your wrist is off the floor and your entire fingers are down. So it looks like this, right? So here's my wrist lifted. If you were to picture your toes and your feet, is almost like doing the practice with your heel off the floor. And so this, it's an option to also protect the wrist. This is an option that I personally use a lot because it feels comfortable in my body. But I do also alternate between the fists, okay? So for the tabletop, let's explore 2 rounds of cat-cow with your fist, and then we're going to explore 2 rounds of cat-cow with the heel of the wrist lifted. When you're ready, settle the knees, make sure those hands are on the shoulders, close the belly to neutralize the spine, and let's start with a cat. So we're going to drop the tailbone, round the upper back, and drop the head. Exhale. Inhale, open. Lifting the tailbone, opening the heart, shoulder blades coming together. Exhale, round and push. Inhale, open. If you want to explore that other option, come into the ball of your fingers, keeping the heels of your wrists off the floor, and continue moving your spine. Nice. If neither of these 2 options work, you can always drop into your forearms. And in your forearms, you can press the palms into the floor. You can interlace the finger and press through the outer edges of your wrists, all right? So you can do cat-cow here too in your forearms. All right, so now that you have those 3 options about your wrist, same thing will apply on your plank. So let's practice our plank. And let's just drop the knees into the floor just to make it easy for the purposes of this practice. Come into your fist from tabletop, and then maybe walk the knees slightly back and just kind of rock the pelvis slightly forward so the shoulders are above the fist. And so here's my plank. I'm still feeling the strength of my core. And if you're not sure how to measure here with your knees down, if you were to lift your legs, you are in plank. So if you want to explore that, you can tuck your toes and lift the legs, and here we are, we're in plank. And you're doing it on your fist. So it requires a little bit more of awareness of keeping the chest away from the floor and not sinking and bringing shoulder blades together. So it's like a mini cat on the upper back, right? Strengthening the upper back. So the idea to engage the upper back is not to collapse the weight on your wrist and fist. Now shift into that ball of your fingers, keeping the heels of the wrists up, and come into your plank on the knees. That's one option. And if you want to extend the legs, that's another option, right? Good. Nice and slow. Find your child's pose and just give yourself a couple breaths to settle this practice. You can keep the knees together or knees apart. Just kind of let the head drop for a moment here. A couple breaths. Beautiful. One more pose I want to teach you is downward facing dog, right? When we come into downward facing dog, usually it's like, oh, I can't do it because my wrists are sensitive. Just like we have been practicing on tabletop and also plank, you can use those three options in any pose that sometimes requires you to be on the wrist. Of course, this is not going to work for all the poses, but I'm sharing with you the poses that have worked for me when I need to modify my practice. So doing a downward facing dog on your fist, it requires, once again, that you make sure your fingers feel comfortable. And even here, instead of rolling the fingers up to the base of the wrist, you can keep the fingers out to the side. All right, so you are pressing through the fingers, the outside of the fingers, and then you come into your downward facing dog. And once again, the idea is to keep the head rest with zero extension or flexion. All right, so here's your downward facing dog. Now, if you want to explore the pressing of the ball of the fingers with the heels lifted, that's another downward facing dog with your wrist is neutral, like so. And if either of two options are feeling still sensitive, then from downward facing dog, we come into a dolphin, which is a downward facing dog on your forearm. There we go. So as you can see, we can always modify our practice as much as possible, but sometimes certain poses are not doable. And we just got to be kind and compassionate towards ourselves and allow our body the time and space to heal, however long that takes. Good, from dolphin, slowly drop the knees down, back into your child's pose. Breathing in, breathing out. One more breath. Now let's just stretch the wrists. We strengthen them in the beginning of the practice, and now let's just stretch them a little bit. So from tabletop, flip your right palm. So the top of your right palm is pressing towards the floor. So you're looking at the bottom of your palm. The base of the wrist is pressing into the mat, and your thumb is on the center of the mat. Spread the fingers wide. And if this feels intense, you're welcome to kind of bend the elbow. But eventually, maybe you can work your way out to extend that arm and keep it straight, right? This arm straight instead of bend. If you're bending, it's okay. It's the body telling you that this feels intense. And then we're going to switch side. Left hand. Good, and then from here, bring the fingers. I'm going to face you so it's more clear my directions. I'm going to place that blanket under my knees for support. From here, we're going to bring the fingers to the center of the mat. So the fingers are facing each other, spreading the fingers very wide. You're going to gently rock side to side. So you're now doing an extension of the wrist, stretching the back of the wrist. This is exactly the opposite movement of what we tend to do when we are in the computer or driving or on our phones or anything that requires you to just continue using the wrist the way we are been doing. You can then to move the circles with your shoulders into one direction and then switch to the other. And now bring the fingers forward and continue rolling to the outside of your mat. So the base of the wrist is now in the center. And once again, gently rocking side to side. And now continue moving the thumb to point to the outside of your mat. So now your fingers are all pointing mostly towards the knees, and the front of the mat is facing the back of your wrist. And here you have the option, once again, just to move side to side, back and forth, or in circles. Very slow movement, very gentle as you can be. This is a very important, sensitive part of the body, and we just don't want to irritate it, right? We want to actually nourish it. So these are very, very gentle stretches that you can do for your rest. And the strengthening is the one we did in the beginning, and you felt that heat going through your arm. Good. And then slowly come back into your comfortable seated to conclude our practice today. A mellow but very yet powerful practice where we were focusing in a very important part of the body for our yoga practice. So let's close by interlacing our fingers, keeping the base of the wrist together, and we're gonna gently move it and roll it. And any of these movements can be done at any point during the day when you're feeling sensitivity on the wrist. If you're in the computer and your wrists are getting a little bit sensation of irritation or annoyance, you can just do exactly this one right now, or the one we did in the beginning with opening and closing your fingers. And continue switching direction, gently moving. We're moving from the wrist, we're not moving with the arms, okay? Two different things. One more breath. Good, and then slowly release your hands facing up. Give your wrist a moment here to digest the practice. Close your eyes and let's just do a couple rounds of breath, and then I'll leave you for you to do a couple rounds of breath on your own. So 4 breaths total. We're going to balance our nerve system. We're going to balance right versus left. So our breath is going to be equally in as equally out. And the count is going to be 5 with a 2-second in between breath. I'm going to count the breath for 2 times, and then you're going to do the same practice on your own for 2 times. Soften and relax your body. When you're ready, take an inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 2 rounds on your own. Try to breathe slowly and relax the body. Now let your breath go back to normal and simply observe. Observe the breath. Observe your physical body. Notice your wrists. Any sensations in here. And let's just bring our palms together. Anjali Mudra, heart center. Gently bow the head. Just to close with appreciation and respect for the practice. To recognize and appreciate our commitment to prioritize our well-being and our mindset, and to reconnect to ourselves beyond this physical world and physical body. I hope energetically, mentally, and spiritually you are feeling balanced, and just give yourself compassion and kindness as you work to strengthening your wrists, and infinite gratitude for practicing today. I hope to see you very soon, and as always, it's my pleasure and honor to have you in the community. Thank you.